The astonishing extraterrestrial UFO crash near Roswell in New Mexico may have occurred 72 years ago, but end-of-life disclosures are only now starting to piece together the real story. Here is an update. Researcher Don Schmitt has devoted many decades to investigating what is now called the Roswell incident. Witnesses who for years declined to comment on the phenomenon are now feeling freer to speak, or have informed their children of the truth before passing away. 3 extraterrestrial craft, described by the press of the time as flying discs, crashed near Roswell in 1947. Their wreckage debris and the remains of their pilots are now thought to be stored deep inside Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. Employees at the base were at the time threatened with instant dismissal from their military jobs, $200,000 fines and 20 years in prison if they disclosed what they had seen and experienced. While these first and second-hand witnesses are many in number, 2 stories stand out as devastating reminders of how deadly serious the government was, and still is, about the UFO cover-up. Marion Magruder. In his book UFO Secrets, co-authored with Thomas J. Carey, Don Schmitt talks about Lieutenant Colonel Marion Milton Magruder, who had been an ace fighter pilot and squadron commander during World War II. Magruder was famed for his fierce night fighting in theatres of war and went on to become highly decorated. In 1947, he was one of the elite few chosen for advanced military training at the Air War College in Montgomery, Alabama. In April 1948, the class was flown to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, on the understanding that the military wanted the officers' feedback and guidance on matters of critical importance. The men were led into a room where they were told about the recovery of an interplanetary spaceship and shown some of the strange wreckage. Magruder later related to his children his handling of a bizarre substance which he described as metallic cloth, now called memory metal. The substance was like very light and strong foil, which could be scrunched into a ball and when released would resume its original flat form. It also withstood soldering, always recovering its original shape. Some of the mysterious debris was inscribed with markings like hieroglyphics. It would be another 25 years before Magruder could bring himself to describe to his children what really shocked him. The men were told that there was a survivor from the crash and were led into another room where they encountered what he described as a living creature. His description accords with that of other witnesses of the alien being, except that Magruder observed that its rubbery skin had a flesh colour tone. Unlike the deceased beings whose skin had been described as greyish, this alien was alive. Its thin humanoid frame was about 4 feet tall, with an oversized head. There was a thin slit for a mouth and small holes for nostrils and ears. The large, wide-set eyes also accorded with the descriptions of other witnesses, and, like other witnesses of the living alien entities, Magruder felt that he could communicate telepathically with this being, and felt overwhelmed with empathy for the stranded creature. Relating the experience to his children, he teared up with sorrow and shame when recounting that the lonely extraterrestrial had later passed due to the numerous tests performed on it by the authorities. Marilyn Monroe. In the 1950s, tenacious journalist Dorothy Kilgallen wrote of the vital importance of understanding the UFO phenomenon and the small men who piloted them, reporting on an inspection of flying saucer wreckage leaked to her by a British government contact. It's little wonder then that Kilgallen was the person contacted by Hollywood actor Marilyn Monroe and promised a story that would rock the world. In his documentary Unacknowledged, Dr. Stephen Greer uncovers a top-secret wiretap of an August 3rd, 1962 telephone call between Kilgallen and a friend, which outlines Monroe's discontent and what she'd had to reveal. Monroe had been attending elite parties and claiming that she had secrets to tell. It was assumed that this insider information had been gleaned from her liaisons with brothers President John Kennedy and Attorney General Robert Kennedy. The secrets included the president's visit to an unknown Air Force base for the purpose of inspecting things from outer space. The crash debris and alien bodies were still being stored at Wright-Patterson Airport, so with her background knowledge, Kilgallen assumed that Munro was referring to evidence of the Roswell crash of the late 1940s. She stated to her friend that if Munro's claims were substantiated, it would cause horrible embarrassment to the president, who planned to send astronauts to the moon. The wiretap records show that Munro was angry with the Kennedy brothers for ignoring her, and had threatened to call a press conference and reveal what was then highly classified information, with the shattering news that we are not alone in the universe. One day later, Munro, aged 36, met her untimely end in suspicious circumstances, seemingly a victim of having been told too much for her own safety, and her own innocence of how ruthless those in power will become when their agenda is threatened.